Welcome to the August 13th, 2024 City Council meeting. Roll call, please.
Mayor Webb.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sullivan.
Here.
Councilmember Londo.
Here.
Councilmember Lucero.
Here.
Councilmember Washington.
Here.
Approval of the agenda.
Move approval of the agenda.
Second.
Any changes, discussion? Hearing none. We have an agenda. Special presentation by Main Street, Oakland County. I'm sure we have a representative here from Oakland County.
We do not. We'll
Go back to it.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Okay. And we'll open up civic announcements. Any civic announcements for the art fair?
I just wanted to remind everybody that the Hazel Park Art Fair is happening the last weekend, or the fourth weekend in August. It'll be the 24th and 25th at Green Acres Park. It's located at 620 West Woodward Heights. It's a family-friendly fair. There will be a beer tent, 3 food trucks. We have the Clay Guild again performing or doing an example, but also with participation activities. There are takeaway kids art, Tai Chi on Sunday morning, and we hope to see you all there.
Civic announcements from the audience of events that we have in the city. Any other civic announcements from the City Council? Administration closes civic announcements. Public discussion, we have Hank Kennedy.
Hello, my name is Hank Kennedy. I live at 300 East Harry Avenue in Hazel Park. July 30th was the birthday of Maverick Marine Major General Smedley Butler, one of the few people to have ever won the Medal of Honor twice. In honor of his birthday and current events, I feel compelled to read some words that he wrote about 90 years ago. War is a racket. It always has been. It is possibly the oldest, easily the most profitable, surely the most vicious. It is the only one international in scope. It is the only one in which the profits are reckoned in dollars and the losses in lives. A racket is best described, I believe, as something that is not what it seems to the majority of the people. Only a small inside group knows what it is about. It is conducted for the benefit of the very few at the expense of the very many. Out of war, a few people make huge fortunes. The general public shoulders the bill. And what is that bill? This bill renders horrible accounting, newly placed gravestones, mangled bodies, shattered minds, broken hearts and homes, economic instability, depression, and all its attendant miseries, back-breaking taxation for generations and generations. In the 90 years since Butler wrote those words in his celebrated pamphlet, War is a Racket, very little has changed. The current war in the Middle East is no different. American corporations are coining money with the lifeblood of the Palestinian people. The companies that take in this blood money are big names: Ford, Colt, Plantier, Google, Caterpillar. It was one of Caterpillar's 60-ton bulldozers that killed Rachel Corrie, an American citizen, in 2003 while she was protesting illegal home demolitions in Gaza. Human Rights Watch, the respected human rights organization, asked Caterpillar to stop selling the bulldozers because they are used to, quote, raise Palestinian homes, destroy agriculture, and shred roads in violation of the laws of war. It is time for this council to show that Americans value peace more than the bottom line of a few war profiteers. It is time for Hazel Park to say loudly and clearly that we are against this war racket paid for by our tax dollars, and we pass a ceasefire resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Stella Roth.
Hi, my name is Stella, and I live in Hazel Park. My full address is here if you need it. I have no illusions that the Hazel Park City Council is going to issue a ceasefire resolution, so let me tell you why I'm still showing up. I believe in holding politicians accountable for their actions, or lack thereof, and moreover, I believe in holding myself accountable, as well as partly responsible for the decisions and actions taken by the city I call home. To claim that issuing a ceasefire resolution is outside your purview is to dismiss the hundreds of cities across the country that have done so, including Chicago and Detroit. To claim Hazel Park is too small to make a difference is to dismiss the strength, unity, and worth of our town and citizens. When you accepted a position on this council, you became a politician. It is the duty of all politicians to use their platform and voice to create awareness, advocacy, and communal healing and support. My friends in Gaza are constantly telling me to take care of myself, to stay well. They have apologized to me for causing me pain and anxiety. Imagine living in a tent for nearly a year without medical care or even ibuprofen or tampons, with constant drones, bombs, explosions, and sniper shots around you, hungry, thirsty, terrified for your children and your lives. Imagine seeing death all around you every day and still telling a privileged American woman, "I'm sorry." This is the spirit and the heart of Palestinians as I have always known them. I do feel immense grief and constant anxiety over their safety, and I have not in any way felt supported by my city. This council has never even, to my knowledge, issued a social media post offering support to citizens going through emotional stress due to the genocide. Even my workplace's corporate office in New York issued a flyer stating, "Feeling more overwhelmed than usual? RE circumstances in Israel and Palestine? Here are resources and links you should feel free to use." Some of you on this council have alluded to being advocates for Palestine in your personal lives, but that's not enough. I'm a bookseller, part of the management team at a bookstore, and I'm always on the hunt for underrepresented titles to order into the store and introduce to our readers. Your choice to be silent while still privately supporting Palestine is akin to me stumbling across an important book, one that I've read and believe in, and not ordering it into the store, not posting it on my books review socials, not exposing it to the widest audience possible, except instead of a book, it's dead children and displaced people. Finally, here's something short that a friend of mine, currently living in Gaza, shared yesterday. Before you think of harming or helping harm, think well that this will be returned to you. And what is returned in this world is the same that will be returned in the hereafter. That there is no forgiveness, and no forgiveness, and no forgiveness. Thank you.
Thank you. Tiffany Perkins.
I am Tiffany Perkins. I am actually a resident of Royal Oak, but I'm here tonight in support of passing a pet store ban. We've already done so in Royal Oak, and I would say within the last 6 months, we've passed 7 others with our neighboring cities. So I want to share a little bit more about why it's so important to pass these preventative bans. And I just want to say, first of all, for even responding to our social media outreach, our emails, is a great sign. It's a positive sign. I know that some cities have blatantly ignored us, so I just want to acknowledge your advocacy already for even just listening to us. And today I just want to host space for compassionate communication for our local community to advocate for our animals. Like I stated before, Royal Oak and Ferndale have already unanimously passed humane ordinances that do prohibit the retail sale of pets. Ferndale is our gold standard, which I read the first draft of the one that we'll read tonight is the gold standard. This actually includes the sale of cats, dogs, ferrets, frogs, reptiles, rabbits, birds, and rodents. And this is important to me because I am a local founder of a nonprofit where we specialize in geriatric senior pets and disabled pets. So 2 years ago, we started to see an uptick in puppies with congenital malformities, and I wanted to dig into the root cause. And we found that these puppies were coming from mass breeders and puppy mills that were being shipped here across state lines into Michigan. And they were being sold at our local pet stores at a high cost for our consumer, but at the animals, a low quality of care. And again, we've passed 7 local ordinances to protect both the animals and the consumer, as these are investor scammers. So what they'll do is market these dogs. Their price tags will be $5,000, $6,000, and then the consumer is actually taking on a double, triple-digit interest rates, and they're buying a sick dog. So with palliative and hospice puppy care, that's a learning curve for me that I've had to take on emotionally, learn more about with our vet team. And with that, keeping the knowledge to myself isn't helping anybody. So I want to talk to councils and the general public to make note that these puppy stores have no regulations other than USDA, which is akin to factory farming. So they're essentially factory farming animals for sale. And the first dog that we took on was named Blueberry. He was a Merle Bulldog, and he died at 8 months old from congenital malformities from a pet store.
Your time has expired.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ray Holyfield.
My name's Raymond Howfield. I'm here tonight to also speak on what Tiffany just spoke about. Although I have been here in the past to speak about Palestine, I want everyone to know that if you're coming up here to speak about Palestine tonight, I stand with you also. My family is encouraged this evening by Council's willingness to address and potentially adopt an ordinance similar to Michigan's HB 4838, which is currently stuck in state legislature. As we've seen with our Berkeley neighbors, Puppygram, just because there may not be a current issue within Hazel Park does not mean that we may not find ourselves playing catch up after the fact. I'm here today vocalizing my support of HB 4838 and urging Hazel Park Council to adopt a preventative ordinance in the meantime. Retail pet stores primarily source their stock from puppy mills and negligent mass breeders, often leaving families in debt due to well-known health issues within these breeds. Or worse, leaving their pets on the street as we see local shelters and rescues consistently over capacity and currently euthanizing for humane space. Our neighbors in Royal Oak, Berkeley, Lathrop Village, and Ferndale have passed puppy mill ban bills through their council already, so I know that it's possible here and widely supported. Many business, including Eastern Palace Club and Mabel Gray, have vocally shown their support for adoption of this ordinance as well. Our ask is that Hazel Park adopts a humane pet retail sale ban as soon as possible, and free Palestine.
Mike Flores.
Buenas noches. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Mike Flores on Manitou Avenue. My comments will be brief this month, as today is my mom's 12th anniversary of her passing, and I don't have the emotional energy to share this evening. But yet I'm here again, once again, asking this council to bring forward a ceasefire resolution. Month after month, we have stood before you as the human toll rises, making the same request, and month after month, this council has failed to act. I understand that this council has dug its heels in, but we are just as committed to coming back every month. We will return, not because we expect you to change your mind. We will return because we refuse to let this council change us. We stand here, not just for ourselves, but for the record. We want history to show that Hazel Park residents were on the right side of history, and that we didn't just sit while innocent lives were lost. We believe in the values of our Hazel Park community, and we will continue to show up, to speak out, and to fight for those values that make us uniquely Hazel Park, American, and human. We will keep coming back, not out of the hope that you will change, but out of the conviction that we will not. Gracias, and thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, Mike. Now close public discussion. Motion to approve the consent agenda 1 through 10.
Quick, I do have an email from from somebody to read into the record. Is everybody okay with that?
Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm writing to encourage Hazel Park to join the many other Michigan cities in adopting an ordinance that bans the sale of dogs and cats in pet stores. Although Hazel Park does not currently have an existing store operating with that business model, it sends a clear message that the city does not support puppy mills and wants to keep their residents safe from the deception and predatory lending that accompanies these stores. Through years of work with local rescues, I've seen the impact puppy mills have on animals and the families that adopt them. By passing these types of ordinances and encouraging people to adopt through rescues or buy through reputable breeders, I hope we can one day stop this cruel practice. There are many breeders and pet stores that have success without the need to exploit or abuse animals. The community does not have a need for puppy-selling pet stores if they want to add a pet to their family. Thank you for your consideration. Lauren Dalaga. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to the approval of the consent agenda.
Move approval of the consent agenda, items 1 through 10.
Second.
Any more discussion on the consent agenda? Dissension? Motion passes. Administrative reports.
Mr. Mayor, I believe the representatives from Main Street are here.
Okay.
Would you like to
We can
come on up, Annika?
put that up. No?
Hello. Thank you for giving me time. Sorry I was late. Traffic's a little crazy. You guys move along very quickly. That's awesome.
Could you speak into the microphone, please?
I'm sorry. So my name is Annika Norris. I'm the liaison for the Main Street Oakland County program. And I'm here tonight to present your affiliate status with Main Street Oakland County and Main Street America. And I just wanted to say a couple quick things and give you a couple stats about the Main Street program. Who we are. Main Street America leads a collaborative movement with partners and grassroots leaders that advance shared prosperity, create resilient economies, and improve the quality of life through place-based economic development and community preservation in downtowns and neighborhood commercial districts across the country. You are one of 800 plus affiliate programs in the Main Street program, and there are over 2,000 communities that participate in the Main Street program throughout the country. Oakland County has 28 programs that participate, you being one of those, which I think is pretty awesome that we're able to have the one and only county-wide coordinating program in all of Main Street. We have a proven track record. For more than 40 years, Main Street America has helped build economic power in downtowns and neighborhood commercial districts through the signature Main Street approach framework that is based on preservation, design, organization, and economic vitality. Founded as a National Main Street Center in 1980, Main Street America has helped to generate over $101 billion in local reinvestment, rehabbing 335,000 buildings across the country and creating over 728,000 new jobs, starting over 175,000 businesses in over 2,000 communities. Main Street Oakland County is in its 24th year, and we're pretty excited. Have pretty cool plans for next year for our 25th anniversary. And one of my favorite things about the Main Street program is that it is a grassroots program that only survives based on the help from your residents and business owners. It is an economic development program for commercial corridors and downtowns. Everyone should have access to an inclusive and resilient Main Street. A place that has a thriving local economy is distinctive and rich in character and features welcoming spaces with diverse businesses for residents and visitors alike. So thank you for allowing me to be in front of you. I greatly enjoy working with the Main Street team here, the businesses and the board and staff. James is really awesome. He does a great job leading. And I'd like to leave this here with you. And
Mayor, would you like to go down and get that, and we'll take a picture?
Yeah, that would be awesome. This is, you go back a year, so this is for last year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Annika, James speaks just as highly of you as you do of him. So,
Oh, thank you. We greatly appreciate it. And I just want, the last thing is thank you to the council, because I think a lot of times people forget that the DDA in Main Street wouldn't be around if it weren't for the council creating a DDA to begin with, and then the support of the DDA and Main Street program. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
I appreciate how much the Main Street Hazel Park has become kind of part of our nomenclature. Like it's just a regular part of our conversations here. So you know that something's working successfully when people refer to it as just something that exists in such a positive way. So thank you for all your work.
And again, we wouldn't have this kind of success if the county hadn't made the commitment that it made to support the Main Street program. So you're a big part of the success for our Main Street program and across the county. So
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, Annika.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too. Moves us down to the administrative reports again. City of Hazel Park Mutual Permit application.
Mural
Mural,
permit.
sorry.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to ask
I do have a spot in my
Alyssa
class.
Sullivan to comment on this. She's will brief you guys on the background of this. And
I'm also going to ask, I see Barbara Winter.
Barb Winter is
And I'm
also
wondering if
here.
she could step up to the microphone and help me with this, please.
Come on, Barb, you've been
Come
summoned.
on.
We know you like to.
Good evening.
Thank you, thank you.
Hi, Barbara.
So Barbara is here as a member of the Hazel Park Library Board. And do you want to tell the audience about what we're looking at?
Sure. So I think I were already in front of you all of guys. Thank you for entertaining it. When we got a fantastic opportunity with the DIA and when they sponsor a public art within the city, they divided to two different categories. One is murals and one is different form of art. So the Hazel Park Library Board agreed, and we started talking to DIA, and fantastically they agreed. We developed the whole proposal, then convened a small group of Library Board member, Art Council from Hazel Park, and chose an artist and location. And in front of you is the proposal final draft of the mural. So, and as maybe Council Member Sullivan mentioned last night, the Art Council approved it, so hopefully you can approve it as well. And if approved, I believe the timeline is end of August, beginning of September, that it can appear on our central location in Hazel Park.
So another great part of this is part of the PIPA program, which is what does the PIPA stand for? Installation of Public Art. Yeah, Public Installation of Public Art through the DIA. And part of that process of getting to this point was we did a public survey. They did an online survey. And reading the feedback from that was really, it made me very proud of this community. Like, I thought for sure we'd get some, everybody has a joke, right? And we really...
I don't think so. We had jokes for that.
Yeah, we didn't. It was really very positive. A lot of people mentioning inclusion and diversity and families and the future. It was really refreshing, and it made me very proud to present that information to an artist to work with, which was great. And we as a group had 4 examples, and every one of us unanimously picked this with some edits. So we gave some feedback to the artist. He came back with this example, and he came back with 2 examples, and unanimously, again, we all agreed that this was the best example, which I think is, to have so many different people with such different backgrounds to agree on one thing repeatedly. Right. It was really refreshing, and I'm really proud of us, and I'm really proud of the library for seeking out this grant. I think it's going to be beautiful in our community, and as she mentioned last night, the Arts Council approved this for recommendation for approval to the City Council, so I hope that everybody will.
So are you going to make
support.
a motion?
I would love to.
Before we do that, I just want to thank the city itself. It was, because those passionate, we have ideas, but then we have no idea how we want to, finalize it, materialize it. So I know that the library director worked with the city attorney on signing the memorandum of understanding that, the city is comfortable with and the DIA is comfortable with, and we can appreciate the art for many years to come.
Very excited.
Thank you, Barb.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you so much, Barbara, for your work on this.
Administration recommends approval.
Awesome. I would like to make a motion to approve the application for the Hazel Park mural permit on the library.
Support.
Any more discussion?
Anybody
Dissension?
else want to say anything?
I just wanted to say that I'm really excited for this artwork, having seen it and heard a lot of the thought process behind it, so I'm just excited about it.
Yay.
Thank you.
So excited. Thank you.
Takes us to the item 2. The amend Hazel Park Municipal Code Title 6 Animals Chapter 6.04 Animals and Others to add Article 5 Retail Pet Store Sales as follows. First reading. Would you like to do the motion, Mayor Pro Tem?
It's unintentionally the Alyssa show tonight, so I apologize. I would love to make a motion, but also with discussion. So I'm going to make a motion for City Council to approve our ordinance to amend the Hazel Park Municipal Code Title 6, Animals, Chapter 6.04, Animals and Others, to add Article 4, Retail pet store sales as follows on first reading with discussion. Thank you. I want to thank everybody that came out and spoke about this. I also want to thank HSUS and Molly, who has moved to Australia since starting this, Molly Tomovich, one of my good friends and an amazing animal advocate here in Michigan, and we lost her to a romance across the sea. So congratulations to her. Sad for us. But this is something that I had discussed with the community and our city attorneys before any of the other cities had started doing this locally at this level in comparison to what Royal Oak had done a few years back. And when I saw this moving forward, my parents still live in Berkeley. I reached out to them and I said, you need to speak to your city council about the approval of this pet store because it's not going to be what they think it's going to be. And so they were kind of caught behind the ball, and now they're trying to, make up for that, which we're trying to prevent what is happening in Berkeley. I want to thank also Laura Mikulski for her work on this ordinance. Her and I had been going back and forth about inclusion of things and really making it more specific, more enforceable. And then I also want to thank Luke for some comments on making this like per incident, which our attorney gladly added in, so that also makes it more enforceable here. So I feel like we took something that was already a really great ordinance and just enhanced it to make it an even better ordinance. So I'm really proud of the support from council. And I look forward to our city passing this and being the next in the line, and hopefully other cities then will also follow along. Also, I want to mention that at the state level, our state rep, Mike McFall, is the one who sponsored this at the state level. So we have support outside of just the city. That's it. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Tiffany for bringing this to my attention. I actually didn't know that Alyssa had actually been working on this for quite a significant amount of time, but I had gotten, I think, 3 or 4 emails in rapid succession from residents, and that's not super common. So dug into that and then hopped on social media and saw that this was something that was being advocated for by residents, but also there didn't really seem to be any good reasons against. So always happy to have smart, efficient, and also empathetic policy brought to this body and to be able to implement it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, when I saw this come up, I thought, is this like taking cough syrup before you have a cough?
No.
No?
No, it is not.
Penicillin before we have an infection? No. Okay. One of the issues I do see that looks, I'm a free market person. We're self-employed people. But one of the things it says, these aren't for sale except on premises that are at retail that are not bred at the establishment. So an establishment could be breeding their animals and selling them?
Puppy mills are...
No. It says... Retail pet stores means a commercial establishment that offers this, but not limited to any combination of animals, ferrets, dogs, or rodents that aren't premises at retail that are not bred at the establishment. First sentence.
It's an A, B, or
first
C.
Paragraph A.
You're just in the definition section. It's just defining what a...
Right.
Yeah.
So they can breed pets at their location and sell them.
No.
That's what it says.
It's a definition of a pet store, so it's not
Defining what
the definition of a pet store is just the definition. It's not an enforcement item.
Okay, well, it says, I'm just trying to clarify, it says that it breeds them at its establishment. Sounds like it's okay to sell them if it breeds them there. We're talking about puppy mills, a private company selling them and bringing them here.
The may sell is not, it's not a permission to sell, it's a statement of what they might be selling. So.
And I'm just questioning retail that are not bred at the establishment.
Right. So in most ordinances and state laws, the very first section provides the definitions so that everybody understands that in the rest of it, what specifically we're talking about. The second section, 6.04-245, actually gets into defining what type of conduct is prohibited. So if you read that section, it makes it abundantly clear that not just on site, but any other sort of mills, exchanges, transfers in which a profit is realized is the conduct that is not allowed.
All right. I'm still questioning the need for this in our city. We have no pet stores.
We do not, and we don't want them. That's the point.
And I'd rather couldn't this be addressed by zoning or a special land use permit? And
to prevent a pet store that was coming into our community, a specific retail pet store ban is more important to prevent the puppy mill aspect, to prevent the, this isn't going to prevent like a pet supply store or say a PetSmart or a Pet Supplies Plus, or even a similar store like Canine Specialties, something like that, from coming here. But what this does remove is the ability of a place that specifically profits off of the suffering of animals. And Michigan breeders, there are many puppy mills in Michigan and very little legislation against them. There's a dirty dozen, and Michigan has, I think, 10 of the top 12 inhumane breeding facilities in the country. And they're mostly located in the upper area, but it's not uncommon for pet stores to get their supply of animals at a very low cost. And these are animals that are kept 24/7, 365 in outdoor kennels. They have no socialization, very little medical care, no grooming. And because it's a factory, it's literally, as Tiffany mentioned, it's a factory farming situation. And that's what we want to prevent from coming to our community.
And historically, here in Hazel Park, the puppy mills we wanted to prevent were the residents.
Mm-hmm. We certainly want to prevent those as well. Yep.
You know.
We already have an ordinance for that, so this is just a next step along in that process of continuing to encourage adoption, encourage people to seek out animals that already exist instead of creating a secondary market for animals that...
Spay and neuter.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. As a professional pet sitter, I see some of these puppies that have horrific medical outcomes. I had a client who had a bulldog that they purchased from the pet store on Berkeley, in Berkeley on Woodward, and they ended up returning it to the breeder because it had an extra disc in its back, a congenital defect, and it couldn't walk by the time it was 6 months old. And they have 2 young children. They were like, we can't financially afford this. There's no medical treatment for it other than supportive care. And they were already, $5,000-$6,000 into the purchase of the dog, and then another 12 to 14 in testing. I mean, first off, no animal deserves to suffer that way. Right. And as a community, I don't think we want to promote that suffering either. So if we can prevent that and we can continue to support, we have many amazing rescues here that work in Hazel Park, that run out of Hazel Park. So that's another benefit to this, is that we're also supporting the people that are already here doing the hard work on the ground by preventing more animals into the system at our expense, that we didn't prevent.
You mentioned that Mike McFall, our close friend, is sponsoring legislation like this.
Yeah, HB4.
There's something maybe our attorney can, Amanda, there's something about cities passing ordinances or laws that are more restrictive than the state that we're not allowed to.
Well, it's not passed yet.
Not passed.
One thing. So if there was a House bill that passed and was somehow inconsistent, we would have to address that. But there's the gap at the moment.
And they're working on the same
also
language.
Just, not to rain on Luke's parade with the every day is a new incident thing, but that's just generally the law, so it wasn't necessary that it was included. I mean, it's good to have it out, but I mean, that's not necessarily more inclusive. I mean, you're violating the law for each day that you're open. It makes it clear, but I don't think that would be inconsistent if that's not included in Mike's bill.
Right, and you're making a statement with respect to passing stricter than. There's not really anything on the books at the state level right now. If there was legislation that discussed and put out what the actual penalties were for something like this, and if we went in excess of that, then we would be possibly trending in a direction that wouldn't be legal. But right now, all we're doing is stating that these establishments are not prohibited in the city of Hazel Park. So that is likely within your purview. Of course, there could be a court challenge. I can't guarantee you that this or any other ordinance like it survives a court challenge, but I don't think there's any preemption from the state of Michigan at this time that specifically prevents us from passing this. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree with all that. There could be market challenges,
right.
Frankly.
We can't guarantee you that there won't be some kind of blanket court challenge to these ordinances by some pet shop group of owners who would band together and challenge this. But right now, on face value, since there's nothing from the state, it does not appear there would be anything that would preempt us.
It doesn't hurt to go ahead and pass something outside of caution to protect animals at this point.
It's a
things can be
That's a good question. Thank you.
I appreciate your questions and answers.
Luke did it.
What I'd really like is to
We did it with the human. I mean, we've done it, but previously where the legislature is just not as swift as our city council is.
Right.
You guys are all on things immediately when residents bring up local issues and it's passionate to your hearts. You definitely, we move quickly here. We're a great working team.
It's not the first time we've passed ordinances and things had to change after the fact.
Yeah.
And we made those changes accordingly, or we've been challenged in court over issues.
Yeah, that's easy to fix.
But to have it in place, I think would be in our best interest to stop this from hurting some.
I'd really like to see something that could be done about bad pet owners.
Well, good luck.
Thank you, Alyssa.
Absolutely. We did rewrite our animal control ordinances, so we did take a step in prevention there, and it gives our animal protection officer and our attorneys more enforceability, because I know, I think even before Amanda was here, Melissa and I had a few discussions about a resident that was having a repeated issue, and then we were able, and the problem is it would get to court and the judge would say, it's not enforceable, the language isn't enforceable. And so we specifically addressed that issue when we rewrote our ordinances to make it enforceable so that we could create protections for community members that they were seeking. So,
unfortunately, with that, bad pet parenting as well as human parenting, being a bad parent, being a bad pet parent is not illegal. And there are many, many times in the course of my career where I fundamentally wish that it was, but it's not.
Yeah.
That's very unfortunate, but it's true.
I agree.
You can pass laws, but then that comes down to enforcement strategy and implementation. And, again, that's why we have punishments, because unfortunately not everyone obeys the laws. And Amanda used to be an Oakland County assistant prosecutor, and she also worked in child protective services law. And the stories that she has are just, they're horrific sometimes, of the mistreatment of human children. So unfortunately, we see these same types of behaviors with pet owners, and we work hard to try and enforce it when we can. And I will point out, as everybody on council knows, but people at home and in the audience may not know, that Hazel Park is one of the few communities in Oakland County that actually maintains its own animal control officer. So most of the rest of Oakland County utilizes the county services. So the fact that we have this and we have this on board does give us more avenues for enforcement of those types of pet safety ordinances.
Which, just a tip on that, being code enforcement as well. If you are having a concern about a dog that is being neglected or mistreated, a lot of times we will get the reports the next day. You've thought about it, and you're talking about the dog that's been barking all night, or that's being left out, or the neighbors are feeding it, or lots of things. I know we all want to have our dog, and we go to work, and then we go to the Tigers game, or we go here, or we go there. If you're that busy, I think we all have our opinions about whether you should have a dog or not. And people don't like to call the police the non-emergency number or code. But we cannot do anything about a dog that's being left out and barking when you tell us 3 days later. You do need to call non-police, non-emergency police or code so that we can go out there when it's actually happening, see it, and possibly do something about it. So that's also something to keep in mind, that you just telling us about it doesn't do anything. The police, animal enforcement, we have to witness it. So, it's anonymous to the best that it can be, but you do need to call repeatedly when those things are happening in real time. That's our job. We happily go out there. Sometimes it's me that goes out there. If it's Jen from Animal Control, it's all combinations of people that can go and just do a drive-by and say, yeah, there's a dog in distress. So that's helpful too.
Call the question.
Sorry.
Call the question. Anybody gonna make a motion?
I already made the
We
motion.
already had the discussion.
There's a motion on the floor.
It went on so long, I forgot.
I know, sorry.
Any more discussion? Dissension? Motion passes.
So this is the first
Okay,
reading, so then it will come back.
takes-
Okay.
Boards and commissions, anyone have any suggestions?
Mr. Mayor, the Planning and Building Department is requesting the appointment of Marcel Roig to the, where do you want him?
Main Street?
No.
Main Street?
On Main Street? Okay, yeah, because it's not
Okay.
on here. Okay.
There we are.
So move. Under. Okay, it takes us to old business. Anyone have any old business they want to talk about? New business they want to talk about? Going once, going twice, okay. Communications from department heads. Anyone out there, department head wise, want to come up and give any statements?
Mr. Mayor, I have Serene Papakian and Jared Gajos are going to come up and talk a little bit about the Spark grant. You approved that on the consent agenda, and they'll talk a little bit about that. First of all, I want to commend both of them. They worked very hard to secure this grant. There was an onerous amount of work that had to be done to complete the application process, and they've worked very hard on it. So thank you both.
Thank you, Mr. Klobuchar. I guess I would like to say thank you to all of the council for their support and passing.
Why'd you say it like that?
It's how residents say it. For supporting this grant that we have. It was very tedious, I guess is a good word. We've applied twice.
He said it like that, Alyssa, because that grant sucked to work on. And
It did suck.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah, the first time Serene actually applied for it, and then we didn't get it because they had such strict restrictions on it. But the second time we did get it, thank God. But the process alone, just to receive the funds, has been very long, very pushed out and everything. So we finally have been able not just to pass it through you guys, but finally to make the announcement that we've received $575,000 from the DNR to be able to update our pole barn, in addition to the $505,000 we have from HUD. So altogether, we have a little bit over $1 million to update our pole barn, which is located next to the recreation center. It'll kind of be like a secondary recreation center activities building. We'll be offering a lot more new things. We'll have offices, concession stand, indoor and outdoor bathrooms, which is essential. So it'll be very, very utilized by the community. We're hoping to see it grow and everything. But again, as residents learn about this and come forward with questions, just know that this is a process, and that's the biggest thing. Everything takes time, and we just met with our architect to start designing and planning and everything like that. And Serene and I and our team, we look forward to coming back with updates and everything. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'd also like to thank the Assistant Recreation Director, Amanda Taylor, for her help in this process. It has been over a year and a half of applying for this money. The first time we applied for $1 million, the second time we applied for $1 million, and we're happy to announce $575,000 for the project.
Just FYI, the recreation building looks very nice.
Thank you.
It's well maintained, well groomed.
Thank you.
And the parking lot on the other side of the park is fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
What an improvement.
We're excited for this project and to show our residents what's to come in the next few years. So be patient with us, and we're thankful.
Thank you.
Very exciting. Thank you so much. Thanks for your hard work on it.
Great work. They did a really, really good job on that, so I'm very proud of them.
Any other old or new business from council, department heads, anything? Anybody want to bring anything up? Okay, Amanda, city attorney.
If you want. Again, Amanda will speak a little bit about spores and psychoactive substances for clarification purposes.
Well, can't wait for my role to expand there. That'll be fun. We did let me say this. Psilocybin is not legal to sell, distribute, etc. in the city of Hazel Park. If you file for a business license indicating that you are going to sell functional legal mushrooms and you instead sell psilocybin in violation of local, state, and federal law, there's a good chance that, you could get caught doing that and we will shut you down. And unfortunately, that has happened again here in the city of Hazel Park. And after a very thorough investigation by undercover police officers, there was a shutting down of spores last week. And so that is in process. So it is just a reminder that while the least amount of enforcement dollars go into the personal possession of psilocybin here in the city of Hazel Park, it is still absolutely and always has been illegal locally at the state level and federally to sell, distribute, grow, etc. And we will continue to enforce that. Unfortunately, we did have a complaint of someone who purchased something and thought that they had suffered some harm, and that triggered a series of events that led to what has occurred. So thank you, everyone, for doing things the right way, the people who are, and for those who are not. We have a really great police team, and, what can I say?
We will find you, and you will be arrested. Look, when council passed the resolution, you were all very clear. And it was pristine and crystal clear that this was about personal use and that it was still illegal to sell this in the city of Hazel Park at this time. In fact, when this entity applied for their business license, it was specifically spelled out for them by the building department. And when it was passed here, it was specifically spelled out in the business license that they were issued. So they were made amply aware of the fact that that type of sales are not permitted in the city of Hazel Park. So again, I hope this provides clarification. I believe the legislature will be taking some action soon on this particular issue, and nothing can be done until the legislature acts because it is illegal at this time. And proving yourself to be a flouter of the law and a violator of the statute, I don't think puts you in a good position for consideration if there is a change in legislation at the state level. So I would caution anybody else that wants to be in the mushroom business, the city of Hazel Park in the future, to make sure that they are complying with the law. Because failure to do so could put yourselves at risk for a license. It can also put the public at risk. We don't know what is in the mushrooms, how strong they are, what type of side effects they could cause. And I would caution the general public against buying or using anything like that until it's regulated and we can understand, and you can understand precisely what you're getting. So, again, I want to thank Amanda for her diligence in her role in this. I want to thank the police department, the Oakland County Narcotics Enforcement Team, and our code enforcement department for all the work that everyone did to make this successful bust. I hate to see that anyone is busted, but again, there are rules for a reason, and sometimes we simply have to enforce the law. So we did so, and we will continue to do so.
What's your comments?
Oh, and of course, Michigan's system of municipal finance remains fundamentally broken. I can't let that streak go.
Okay, we'll take this to the next level. Councilman Londo?
Any other department heads?
I already asked.
Confidence a bit. All right. Shout out Lisa and everybody that was involved in executing our primary. It is a busy election year where we have four elections. So our clerk team and everybody at City Hall has done an excellent job making sure that our election went well and smoothly. Plus the agreement to do the early voting. So our city really does a lot preserving the franchise, and just extremely grateful for the efforts. Congratulations to all the people who made it through their primaries. Thank you to Tiffany again for your advocates, your passionate advocates, reaching out to me and I assume the rest of council, and for ultimately resulting in this ordinance that we passed on first reading. I have enjoyed the bike lanes on John R. I'm stoked that they're there. Every time I drive between 9 and 10, I see plenty of bicyclists. On Wednesday afternoon, I saw about 60 of them, and that was me honking at you guys. Thank you for using them. One of our speakers tonight mentioned mental health, and I genuinely appreciate talking about mental health and it being brought up and something that's a little bit more accepted societally. I had the pleasure of being on vacation all last week and unplugging and actually being out of cell phone service. And sometimes people like to tell me to touch grass, and it's actually really great. So if you get the opportunity to go outside and touch grass, I hope that it does as much for you as it did for me. Finally, happy belated birthday to Diane Klobuchar.
Thank you, Luke. Happy birthday, Diane. You know what? One more thing I want to follow up with that Luke said, if I may, Mr. Mayor, is I want to thank Lisa Mayo and her team, Nicole and Sammy, and all of the citizens that spend a very long day for a small amount of pay to make sure that the democratic process functions in the city of Hazel Park. They did a great job. And I especially want to thank her because, you know what, she was very unfairly targeted by a disgruntled candidate who, again, I guess was kind of exposed for what he is during this entire process, that tried to unfairly impugn her character and integrity for simply doing her job. And she was waylaid by a few TV reporters, and I think she availed herself quite well and answered.
It wasn't even a Republican.
Yes, and she did a great job of explaining why she does what she does and explaining the law. And I want to thank her for the great job that she did.
Come at us.
And happy birthday,
Councilperson Washington.
Hi. I thought of something that we forgot to talk about in civic announcements. I just wanted to bring attention to Hometown Huddle happening on August 29th, starting at 5:30 to 6:30 at the Hazel Park High School, previous to the first football game of the year, starting at 7. So please come out and support the local organizations at Hometown Huddle. I also just want to thank everyone that came out to speak today. We have Hank, Stella, Tiffany, Ray, and Lauren. It takes a lot of courage to speak in front of people. I do it here as well. And your words are heard through the city. And then also in the spirit of Women's Equality Day on August 26th, I want to say publish the Equal Rights Act. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Luke, you mentioned mental health and stuff like that. Pardon me for a little story. I was at, surprise, the House of Shamrocks a few weeks ago on a Tuesday night, and they're having trivia. And the question comes up, I'm not playing, I just hear the question. Established in 2021, it's a national number for suicide prevention. And to my surprise, most people did not know the answer. I know every one of us knows 988, but most people didn't know this. So 988 is a suicide prevention number. I don't know if we could put that on our website somewhere or city, anything, please. It was heart-wrenching to receive a text a few weeks ago about a young female jumping off the Harry Street pedestrian bridge. My heart goes out to that family and that child. There's nothing. A pastor of mine said that this is a permanent solution to a temporary situation. So, anyway, on that note, if you love somebody, tell them. If you have children, hug them every day and tell them that you love them. And thank you for coming out and participating in the democratic process. Have a good night.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
All right. I also want to echo the sentiments of some other people at this table. I want to do a huge thank you to our election team and our city clerk for keeping our elections free and fair and accessible to as many people as possible. Integrity is probably one of my favorite words. It's also one of my most important, I think, traits in people and in processes. And I think our city does a great job of continuing the integrity of our elections and protecting that integrity. And it's kind of a thankless job. They get a lot of naysayers and a lot of insinuations and accusations that are really unfounded. And so I want to thank them, and I want to thank the volunteers, and I want to thank the polling staff, the people that work the polls on Election Day. And I want to offer congrats to our local electeds that won their primaries. Very proud of you. Running for office is not easy. And also, I want to thank Andrea for reminding everybody about the Hometown Huddle on August 29th. I want to also do a special thanks to Jared and the Parks Department, Serene and Amanda, for their hard work on this grant. I'm very excited. Watching the kind of evolution of our Recreation Department is really... It is awesome. That is a good word for it. It's energizing and it's exciting, and it's something that our community really needs and values. Speaking also on mental health, I wanted to remind people, I do have a link tree that is pinned on my social media. But you can also find it under Alyssa, ALISSA, Sullivan, SULLIVAN, 4 FORHP. In there, I have quite a few links for mental health services, mental health resources. I also have links for pretty much any other resource that somebody in our community could need, anything from housing, utility assistance, food assistance, domestic violence assistance, you name it, there's a link in there for it. Remind people to call 988 if you're having issues, if you're feeling insecure, if you're feeling unhappy. I do post about that often. Just as a reminder, all of us have things that we're struggling with, and all of us have things that we're facing. And sometimes you need somebody to talk that through with you so that you stay safe. So protect yourself, protect your feelings, protect your emotions, and reach out if you need help. I also want to echo the sentiments of please publish the ERA. We're, 50 years since it was passed and never been published. So
it's ratified.
It's ratified, but it is not published. And until it is published, it is not law. So that's it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out as well. I'd like to thank Lisa Mayo and her staff and all the volunteers as well for the great election process in which we have here in our community. I do want to also thank the fire department for outstanding jobs that they've been providing with the amount of fires we've had in the last recent weeks. It's sad how we've had those fires go out, and I want people to just take an opportunity to remind everybody to get a new fire smoke alarm. Buy a smoke alarm, put it in your house.
Fire department has free ones.
Pardon me?
Fire department
does have free ones, yes. Thank you. If you need them, go over and see them to get some smoke alarms. We do not want to have a bad situation here. We'd rather have your safety A house can be replaced. A life can't. Also, I want to go to, we are a green city by the DNR. We have all the trees being planted, particularly in my neighborhood at this point, because I was part of the tree initiative this year, and we've been doing it for the last few years, and we want to sign up and get trees, go online and sign up for the next season of trees. We have some money and opportunity to be able to plant these trees. We would like to have all of our residents participate in making our city more green and environmentally friendly for the air that we breathe, instead of breathing all the carbon dioxide, which we have a lot around us. But with that being said, we want to protect our kids and our children and make it a better environment for them, for their future, and because some of us may not have that long to go, but we want to make sure our other children have a long time to go.
Speak for yourself.
Sorry, I might have 20 years. So, but we want to have those other young adults come up and be the leaders for tomorrow and have a healthier environment than we had. And a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Thank you.